that better? Yeah, mute. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Okay, we want to be on time for the and to give our brothers who have kindly come to lead us in those sessions all the time that they need. And we're segueing now from all the wonderful principles that we've gone over this morning and this afternoon in the three main sessions. But in a conference like we have today on outreach, it's important then to move from the theory, biblical principles, to more and more of the practice as to what we do with some of the things that we've been learning today. And I owe the committee and also you an apology, actually, that you were meant to have in your handout today a complimentary copy of John Blanchard's Ultimate Questions. I don't know if you know this booklet. Can anybody guess how many copies this booklet has sold or been given away? Any advances on Pastor Paul? 10? 30 million. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Actually, I was hearing the other day, it was 14 million. And John Blanchard died last week at the age of 88, having sold 80 million copies of his books. And he was on a series of podcasts in Wales, and the title of the podcast is Before You Leave the Stage. So they're interviewing a number of pastors who are right at the end of their days. And watching this podcast, you would never have known that a month later he would have died. And the thing that struck me about that was that the person who was chairing the podcast time and again was making so much of the fact that so it's been a booklet that's been greatly used. It's in 60 languages, and he being dead yet speaks. So I want to say that there's a box out there. Please take a complimentary copy. And I think let's do this. If each of us prays for one person to give this to, read it ourselves, and then pray specifically, as Pastor Paul has said, for whom we can give it. The second thing I want to do this afternoon is to explain this issue of the way that's in your folder. And just to give a little bit of a background of that, this is the Lamborghini, and this is my Mini Cooper. Okay, so when we left you don't have in Britain the mailbox at the end of the driveway. You go up to the door, you put it through the door, and that's a legal thing to do. And the wonderful thing about that was, as he wrote the Holywell Herald, that in a very Catholic town, which had its own shrine, the church got on the map. Small church, but everybody knew about the church. because everybody got a copy of the Holywell Herald. It went to 3,000 of the tenure at Seventh Reformed Church. Said, let's do this also. So we started producing the Way, and not every church can do this. And we produced 3,000 in-house on our own paper, own print, and we mailed it to 3,000 homes around Seventh Reformed Church. And that went out 6 times in 1 year. So then when we were led to found From His Fullness Ministries, burdened both for where the church is growing massively, but also for where the church is struggling to see people come into faith on a regular basis, we said, well, this is perhaps one way in which we can support the local church. Not every pastor has the time to be able to write something like this, but they're either. And there is a lot of gospel material, but they may be written in a different century. So what we're trying to do is bring together the Reformed faith and the age in which we live, applying the gospel not to the 15th century, the 16th century, but as we've heard today, the 21st century. So we began with what we call a master copy, and we wanted to give it freely to churches. And so this was the master copy that was on the table there. And on the front page, on the banner, you get to insert your church's own logo. And then on the back page, the right panel with instructions here, you can fill out the outreach events that you have going on in your own church. So Little Farms has been gracious enough to permit us to do that. And so this is the 4th issue of The Way. And so you'll notice on the banner, this is the mantra of Little Farms Chapel, sowing the word, serving the Lord. We produced 13 issues in total, but this is the 4th that Little Farms has done. And then at the bottom, you'll find the details of the church. And then if you turn over to the back page, the right column, you will find that we have 2 issues relevant to advertised it on Facebook for the master on Facebook. I got all these emails from the Muslim world saying, please, can we have The Way? I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to give them a copy of The Way that they can customize for their own needs. So we drew up a general copy, and that is the same for everybody. And in the header here, it says, good news for a groaning world. And for security purposes, on the bottom, we just put From His Fullness Ministries and our email address. And then we fill out the back right panel. And that can go out directly. So what we're hoping with the master copy is that churches will take hold of this. All you need back panel. they just upload it to their website, put a link to social media, and there's the gospel. Because one of the things that we found, and I'm sure I'm not alone, I hope it's changing, is that so few Reformed sites actually have the gospel on their website. So we're trying to encourage a principled approach to for the general copy. Simply send an email to From His Fullness at mail, not Gmail, just mail.com. Assign your church up to the master copy,